begun. We are recording. Are we going to do the same thing we did yesterday? Let's go ahead and introduce ourselves.
Sure.
My name's Vanessa, and... I
thought we were
Introduce yourself! We're not doing the exact same thing. Come on.
Well, I thought you learned from yesterday, and I thought you were going to introduce me again.
Why do I have to introduce you? Who are you that makes you so special that I should introduce you?
Well, you did choose to marry me, so...
Well, in this corner, we have the mighty, the strong...
Why didn't you introduce me like that?
Okay. Well, what is your name, gentle creature of the dark?
My name is very sophisticated.
Sophisticated?
Sophisticated. Just my name, though, not me.
Are you going to tell us your freaking name? I don't know. I just married a stranger.
Gianfranco.
And we're going to call you John.
Yes, apparently that's what we agreed on.
Yes. I mean, we agreed on it. You know, how long have we been married?
I don't know, 20 years?
And I just found out that you go by John like 6 months ago, so...
I don't go by John.
Well...
Since my name starts with Gian, I decided to go with Johnny.
Or Johnny E. Or John. Or there is so many different names that I don't know. Like...
Janka.
Yeah, see, for me, if...
Jumpy.
I have two names. My first name and my middle name. My family and friends go by my middle name, which is Vanessa. And then the doctors and collection agencies go by Susan.
So when you hear a call, it says like, "Hi, may I speak with Susan?"
I always
You're
have
like,
to ask.
No.
Well, see, this is the thing I have to ask. Well, are you calling for a medical appointment, or are you calling to charge me for said medical appointment? Because if it's the second, then no, I'm not her. I am Vanessa. Okay, so where were we? We got introductions. Okay.
Yes. Next in the bulletin list?
I don't know. We kind of, see, we started recording this podcast last night, and we got interrupted by barking dogs, by a crying baby, and that one particular ghost that kept lingering around. And so we decided to ditch it, even though we were 30 minutes in, and just re-record everything. So here we are, and the madness continues.
Yes, indeed.
So basically what we had gotten to yesterday, when we first started recording, was basically telling our stories and our experiences with the supernatural, the unknown per se, I guess.
Sure.
And just, we love to hear, well, mostly me.
Yeah, her. It's just her. I don't enjoy the ghostly stories
At all.
I avoid them
As much as possible. But
True.
See, being married to me, I am a magnet for these type of things, and I've been experiencing anything, and everything since I was a kid. So it's nothing new to me. I think there was a what's that one particular, I don't remember what it was, that music video that you were like, oh my god, this is so creepy, and I was like, really? It's not that bad. And then I showed him what I watched, which was like an exorcism and stuff like that, and he's like, what the fuck is that? Are we allowed to curse on podcasts? Am I supposed to bleep this out?
I don't know.
Oh well, I guess it's just gonna go like that.
Yeah, I mean,
is there someone that kind of goes over every podcast?
I think it it's always algorithms in this computerized thing that filters it. But I guess it's not
depends. It's not like supervisor off all podcasts. I'm like, hey,
no,
young lady.
I just mean like I guess it depends on where you post it.
Okay, well, I have no idea where I'm going to post this, so whoever's listening, welcome, and I hope you stick around, and I don't know, just stick around, I guess. I don't know how this works. Okay, so, back to it. So, Gianfranco, Gianca, Mr. DeBellio, follow him on YouTube and Instagram. Mr. DeBellio, or we had said John, He is a truck driver.
I am a truck driver.
Yes, and this is something that we got into yesterday. I couldn't seem to get over the damn sentence. Yes, he's a truck driver. He drives a truck as in a truck driver. So being said truck driver, he drives the night shift.
I drive a truck.
I wasn't going to say that again.
You were almost there.
I know, almost, but I wasn't. I learned from my mistakes, and I was going to say that you drive the night shift. Or the graveyard shift. Is that what it's called?
That's
I like that. I like that name. We're just going to call it, because it's new. I just created this. The graveyard shift.
Okay.
I'm silly. No, I'm kidding.
I guess that's the name of the podcast now.
The graveyard shift. Ooh. That's a good one. I haven't come up with a name yet, so I guess that's what it is. Welcome to the graveyard shift. So, he drives a truck.
I do drive a truck.
In the night.
At night.
Where creepy shit happen.
Creepy shit happens.
All the time.
Not all the time. No. I wouldn't be working the graveyard shift if that's what would happen.
I just wanted to see if it followed along, just all
no.
the time. In the dark of the nights. In the graveyard shift, a truck driver drives solo in the nights in his truck.
Oh God! And it just goes over and over the same thing.
Wouldn't that be a horrible horror film or something? Just that over and over again. It's like Inception.
No, Inception was so much better.
Well, you never know unless we put it on film. It's just a driver in the night, just driving, never ending, and just quiet for like 3 hours straight. I'm gonna put the GoPro in your truck and just make a film and just like promote the shit out of it.
Just like publish it as is, no editing.
No, none. Just
he drives for
silence.
About 3 hours, then stops.
And that's
about
it.
15 minutes.
Takes
gets back in the truck, and then continues driving.
And then just put like some, odd French name to it. Le poisson.
The fish.
I don't know.
The fish.
Le fromage.
The cheese. You're not getting any better.
I think I'm hungry.
You want cheesy fish?
Ew. This doesn't really sound like a creepy supernatural podcast.
This is the graveyard shift, baby. This is like
everything when everything happens.
No, this is the part where the part of the day where you've been awake all day, and then you're into the hours of the night, right? And
this sounds like it's going somewhere very, very, I don't know, wise. So
right. So you're into the hours of the night. You are tired,
obviously,
and you get to the point where you start saying dumb shit because you're delirious. But this is it.
But we're not technically in. Well, okay, we are. Let's just keep up. Okay.
All right. So I drive a truck.
Okay.
Ghostly stories, right?
Yes.
So I drive a truck.
Again.
I drive a truck.
He drives a truck. In case you guys missed it.
Oh God. All right. So God damn it. I gotta start with that. I've got to start with that. So I drive a truck, and I start my shift like around 7 p.m. I'm usually back around 7 a.m. So it's like a 12, 13, sometimes even 14-hour shift, depending on how much shit is in the truck that I have to unload. Because I do have to unload, being that at these warehouses where I'm delivering, there's nobody there.
Nobody.
Ooh. All right. So you're gonna be my ad-lib, I guess. In this.
You're what now?
Ad-lib.
I'm not gonna be nobody's lip.
Okay.
I'm kidding. Yeah. Okay. Go. I don't know what that means, but sure.
When there's a song, and
your echo.
No.
Kind of.
And there's like you've heard the Migos songs, right? Like trap music, the Migos. You had to hear like at least one of them. That was the most horrible
cricket.
Yes.
I don't know. That was a high cricket.
All right. So no, they have this other person or partner in the team or whatever.
Oh yeah, that they go like mama.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'll do that.
Yeah. Or my sound effects, I guess.
Just randomly scream, Mama! When you're in the creepiest part of the story, and everyone's like glued to the radio, quiet, and then I just like, Mama!
Oh, God. No. Alright, so.
Skeet, skeet!
Please take her away.
To the window!
Oh,
to
God.
the wall. Okay.
No. Alright, so.
He drives a truck.
I drive a truck. Graveyard shift, right? So I'm usually like, I get to my first location, which is Macon, Georgia, around 11 or midnight.
Bless your heart.
Right. I go and deliver. It's a little creepy because it's late at night. There's nobody there, but whatever.
You get there about 1 or 2 in the morning or 2 or 3?
Wait, no. Midnight.
Okay.
Then I have to do another stop in Albany. Now, Albany is an old town.
Like old.
Like really old.
Not that I've ever been there, but old.
You know, you should be in one of my trips one day.
No. I don't want to bring shit home.
Okay, whatever. So it's an old town, and it's kind of creepy because, you know, it's like, it's not off the highway. Like, you have to get off the highway, get into this U.S. highway, and then drive for another hour or so inwards, inland, to get to this town.
I'm gonna take my horse to the old town road. Okay, sorry. I'm being your ad-lib here.
Yeah, not a good one.
You asked for one. You didn't say good one now. Okay. I'm an okay one. Okay.
Like the OK Auto Shop.
We saw an auto shop that said OK Body Shop. Well, I am not quite sure I want to take my car to you. If it's just okay, it runs. How's your car? It's okay. All right. Let's go back.
All right. So
we're in Albany.
Yeah. So I'm getting to Albany. And, you know, you go through these U.S. roads and everything. And it's a very creepy place. Okay, let me just set the scene. Before getting there, like when you're going through town, there's usually people walking around. Now, mind you, at this time when I get to Albany, it's like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Mm-hmm. Okay, there's like people walking around in the middle of the street, even though they have sidewalks. There's people with like shopping carts in the middle of the street. So I'm assuming it's like homeless people.
I was just gonna say that, you know. Homeless people are not scary.
They are when it's the middle of 3 o'clock in the morning and they should be sleeping.
The middle of 3 o'clock in the morning?
Yes, the middle of...
That would be 3:30.
Thank you. But yeah, so it's you're not expecting to see people.
Right.
And yet you do. And not in common places, like not on a bench or... walking on the side.
I thought you for a second you said on a bed, and I'm like, what the fuck are you looking at? I'm like, where the hell are you that you're seeing people on a bed? That's creepy in itself. Just, you know, I just go to people's homes,
on a bench,
peer into their house and see what they're doing. Okay, on a bench, yes.
Yeah, on a bench or on the sidewalk, because they have sidewalks. Being an old town, they have sidewalks everywhere.
Right.
But no, they're walking in the middle of the street for some reason. Then again, I get to the warehouse. The warehouse is lit up. It's not that scary. It's lit up from the outside. But since it's a bad neighborhood being an industrial place, there's about 3 buildings that are abandoned right next to the warehouse.
That's creepy all in itself. Like,
right.
That shit's creepy.
One of them has no roof. The third one away from the warehouse, building, right? It has no roof. It looks like it had been burned to the ground at one point or another. No doors, no windows. It's just
the
bricks.
structure.
Right. It's just bricks. And the other 2 are full-on houses that are boarded up.
Oh, that's creepy.
Right.
That sets the scene right there.
Right.
That's just like...
And the one closest to the warehouse, it looks like they're working on it. Like they're rebuilding it or something.
Okay.
But it's nighttime, so there should be nobody there.
Right.
But sometimes you do see lights inside the house.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
At 3 o'clock in the morning.
At 3 o'clock in the morning.
In an old abandoned building.
Yes. So my thought was like, you know, these abandoned places, I'm like, you know, they're probably is drug houses or something like that, right. Where, you know, homeless people go to stay.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, that's all possible too. Like, but the thing is, will you be willing to go in and investigate?
Oh hell no.
Like, you're not gonna be one of those stupid people. Like, hello. Is anybody here?
No. I park my truck. I look around while my doors are locked and the engine is running. And then if I don't see anybody close to my truck or, close by, I get down and I get straight into the warehouse and lock up behind me.
When you go tonight, you're going to be so aware of your surroundings, like, more than ever. If you ever were creeped out before, tonight after this podcast, you're going to be talking
about it.
Fuck this shit, I quit.
All right, so, besides that, besides the city and the environment being spooky,
already creepy, yeah.
The warehouse is creepy, too. Inside the warehouse...
Most are.
Yeah. Well, no, because the warehouse in Macau is practically fine. It's not scary. It's just, a big place. We're a warehouse, and then they have a door where you see the offices and stuff. The only creepy thing about it is that they have this huge window from the offices that they can look into the warehouse. Ooh. And I always imagine that somebody's looking at me
through... The pantry girl.
Right, something like that.
We're going to get into the pantry story after this.
So, it's like, that's the only creepy thing about Megan. But you can go in there and have your lunch, whatever. It does, I've never been scared.
There's lights and stuff.
I mean, yeah, you can turn on the lights. The lights are off, but you can turn them on.
Right.
It's fine. But the creepy thing about Albany is that, first of all, you're not allowed into the office area. Because they have 2 alarm systems.
Okay.
One is for the offices, and one's for the... the warehouse part. And I only have access to the warehouse part. So, you get in, right? The offices are on the right. And past the offices, there's this huge fence that divides the warehouse into 2.
Inside the warehouse.
Inside the warehouse. And it's not even... It's like 6 feet tall. And, the ceiling of the warehouse is like 30 feet tall.
You know what that's for, right?
Don't tell me.
What? What do you think?
I don't know, but
say it.
Zombies.
That's what I was going to say. I thought you were going to say something else.
So, it literally looks like a scene from The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
With the fence that runs in between.
Where doesn't The Walking Dead...
They film here in Atlanta.
I think they filmed in Peachtree City, though.
Okay, but it's not Albany. The Albany is way too far. It's 100 miles away from Florida.
Well, I was just thinking, maybe, but no. Okay, so
no.
Yeah. So no.
But yeah, and this is a warehouse that is being used.
Right, that it's currently...
Right, in use. It's not an abandoned building or anything. And it's being used on both sides.
Right.
So basically, you would think that this one warehouse is for one business. It's not. It's for 2 businesses, hence the divider thing. Fence.
The divider thing.
So, yeah, very creepy. But here comes my story. So, one night, I'm driving towards Albany, and it's raining. But not raining hard, it's just drizzling. Mm-hmm. Enough to where you have to use your windshield wipers.
Right, and just
But if you get down, it's not that bad.
It's not going to soak you.
Right.
Right.
And I'm driving, and, I'm just focused on the road. And there's this one part where you're going 55 miles per hour. It's like a 4-lane highway type deal, but it's not a divided highway, so there's no barrier in between. You're going 55 miles per hour because that's the speed limit there. And there's houses on the sides. Now, one of these houses, there's this lady that is sitting on the edge of the road.
No, this is all at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Right, at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Just sitting on the road.
Sitting on the road while it's raining or drizzling outside.
Right.
And here comes my truck going at 55 miles per hour on the right lane. Now, there's no medium or, space enough to, pull on the side of the road. Right. She's literally, on the side of the road. Literally a foot away from my truck. And she's just sitting there, dressed in white. Like a white gown, like one of those sleep things.
Nightgowns, yeah.
Nightgowns,
sleep gowns.
Yeah. I forget the name of that thing every time. All right, so, and I want to say she has long brunette or black hair, but I can't see her face, obviously. Now I'm focused on the road. I haven't even noticed her until I see this white blob that I'm driving by.
You just called the poor lady a blob.
Well, this.
Yeah, I just figured.
Right, because I'm not focused on her.
You're just focused on the road,
it's, just my peripheral, and I didn't even see her. And I drive past her, and I'm like, what the hell was that? So I look in the mirror and I see this person that is just sitting there. And I'm like, well, that was weird. Right? Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, you see people walking around all the time. And I'm like, it's just some crazy person.
You didn't think much of it. You left it at that,
And I drive, I do my delivery, and I come back. And I don't see her again.
Right.
I just keep driving. But then a few months later, this happens again. Right? And this is the thing. Every time it rained, or the environment was kind of the same,
fogginess,
I remembered what had happened, and I'm more cautious or more aware of
your surroundings.
Right. Especially as I'm driving through there, because I'm like, am I going to see her tonight?
Well, it kind of sounds like you're hoping to.
Because it was really weird.
I think you should, wear your GoPro or something, But yeah. So
this,
a few months later,
I'm driving by. It's drizzling again. It's around the same time. And
that's what freaks me out. But go ahead.
It's around the same time, and I'm getting there, right? I'm getting to that place, and I'm like, this is weird again. So I'm driving again, 55 miles per hour, on the right lane, drizzling, same kind of, like...
night.
Right. It was the same kind of night, same kind of time, everything was about the same. So I'm driving through there, and I see this white figure on the side of the road, like, far ahead from me. So I'm like,
on the same exact spot.
Right, on the same exact spot. And I'm like, well, I'm going to pay more attention to this shit, right?
Right.
So I'm driving, and I pay attention more to the gap between my lane and the
sidewalk.
Well, it's not a sidewalk. There's no sidewalk there.
Right, wherever it is that this person or thing is
right, it's just the curve.
Okay.
It's the curve. She's sitting on the curve. And it's been raining, so right next to the curve is like the drainage area.
Right. And so basically, and this is just because we were talking about the story yesterday that I'm kind of familiar with it. Basically, her feet are on the drain.
Right.
Which for me, that's creepy in itself. Like that her feet are in the drain. It's raining. You would assume that water is running through.
Right. Water must be running through. Exactly. Water must be running through because it has to clear the road. And it goes off the road to the sides. Her feet are there and she's sitting on the curve. And mind you, there's like literally like a foot away from the white line that that marks my lane.
Right.
And I'm driving at 55 miles per hour with my lights on, so she can see me coming. Right.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
and it's 3:00 in the morning. It's a small town, so. You could probably see the truck coming for a while now.
Yeah, probably.
She could probably see or hear you before you even saw her.
Probably, yes. So, I'm driving straight in my lane, and part of me is telling me, is this lady going to jump?
In front of the truck.
In front of the truck. And the other part of me is like, is she even going to move at all?
Right.
Is she a ghost?
Because at the first time you just saw her through your peripheral vision.
Right, and then on the mirror, and she was just sitting there,
not
moving at all,
an inch.
No,
not even bothered by your truck passing by so close.
Exactly. So I'm going 55 miles per hour on this thing. Now, I don't know why I keep saying 55 miles per hour, but for people to understand this, it's like. When you're inside the car traveling at 55 miles per hour, it doesn't feel like anything.
Right.
When you're in a truck...
and plus if you're outside of
If you're in a truck driving at 55 miles per hour, it feels like you're going 70 to 80 in a car.
Right.
And the difference is that when you're outside the vehicle, the amount of air that the truck pushes is 10 times greater than what a car does.
Right.
So even if she was a person or somebody just sitting there,
the force of the
air should have pushed her.
At least, yeah, you could, if you looked in your rear view or in your mirrors, you would have at least seen her hair, her nightgown, something,
or her look away, away from the road,
or even like stick her middle finger at you,
right?
Some shit like that.
But what I was expecting was for her face to look away from the truck because of the rain, how it's pushing the
right, and then that's the other thing. It's probably splashing all over your freaking face.
Exactly, which I don't know why I find that delightful.
You're an asshole. Yes, guys, if you ever happen to see my husband's car coming by and it's raining, you're on the side of the road, please move away because he finds great pleasure in splashing the shit out of people.
Yeah, it's funny.
Me included.
That's happened to me a lot of times, so I find the laughter in it.
Well, getting back to the story.
So the second time, I'm driving past her. She's in the same spot from the previous time.
Right.
And I'm paying attention to her, and she's just sitting there, like, you know...
Hunched over,
looking down, not even concerned about my truck coming. And I'm like, should I move lanes or not? That was my debate at that time. Should I move lanes or not? And I decide not to. Because I'm like, I'm in the right of way. Even if she jumps over and, you know, she gets hit by the truck, it ain't my fault.
Well...
I know that sounds bad. But it's not. It's really not my fault.
Well, yeah, but you could just move over. Just in case. Now, my thing is, if you move over, what would be the difference? Because I've had experiences where, you know, spirits, ghosts, whatever you want to call them, if you don't acknowledge them, or if you know, don't see them in quotation marks,
or aren't bothered by them,
right, it's like you're not there, they're not there. But the moment that you move over or
and you acknowledge them,
it's like a little light goes off and it's like, oh, you see me, you know. And so in my mind I'm like, if you would have moved over,
maybe I'll do that next time.
Would that be the case? Well, I'll get into the story of the Macarena in Brazil from my father and my grandfather. So Brazil, Uruguay, I don't remember where it was, or maybe Argentina.
All right, so should I move over? I don't move over. I stay in my lane, going 55 because I have the cruise control, so it's going 55. And I'm driving past her, and I'm looking to see if she will look at me, you know, raise her head up, look at me, or do anything at all.
Just acknowledge the presence of the truck.
Of the truck.
Right. I mean, it's not like a bicycle's going by. It's a freaking truck.
Right. 18-wheeler going by. It's gonna...
Right.
And it's raining, so you know it's gonna splash the hell out of you.
Yeah. And I mean, even just a little push from the wind or something, you know, the
right.
trailer just move.
It's gonna bother you.
Yeah, of course.
So I drive by, and she doesn't move. Look in the rear view, she still didn't move at all. But the thing that caught me was that there was, like, the wind didn't affect her. Like, her dress wasn't moving, her hair didn't move. She was just in the same way that I looked at her. Now, I don't want to say that it was a ghost because I don't want...
You don't want to acknowledge it.
I don't want it to be a ghost.
You freak out because you're like, I saw a ghost. And you guys have to understand, John here, he comes from... He's not much of a believer, I think, until recently he's become more open to everything. But he grew up in a very religious family. So his family is a Jehovah's Witness. So anything that was out of the normal was automatically a demon or something trying to take your soul.
Not trying to take your soul, but trying to deviate you from the truth. So basically, they don't believe in the afterlife,
right?
Unless you're going to, like, paradise, right? So if you don't believe in the afterlife, like in a ghost form, then it has to be a
something
demon.
Bad, right?
It has to be a demon that wants you to believe that the ghosts are real, and therefore you are in the wrong, and you're not
right. You're not following the correct path.
Right.
Okay. So this is how he was raised. So when he met me, I come from a very spiritual family. We're not religious. I come from, you know, pagan Wiccans, gypsies, and all this wonderful stuff. So, you know, I was always very open to everything. And even though my family, my mom and everyone didn't really, let's say, immerse me into everything, I was always kind of open already and knew that there was something else. So when he met me, I kind of introduced him to all this stuff, and he's seen, you know, firsthand things happen in the house, and things always happen to me. Like, people always seem to, like, come to me, and even random people at the store, they'll just feel the need to tell me their lifelong stories and woes. So I have always seemed to be a magnet for this type of things, and I think that you've become more a believer now recently.
Well, I wouldn't call it belief.
Well, you saw a ghost twice, and you're not wanting to believe that it was a ghost, but the wind and rain didn't affect her. The 18 wheels.
What I'm saying is that I'm doubtful of everything.
Yes, he's skeptical. He's just a very skeptical person, and but for me, it's like, okay, well,
that was ghost, and it's okay.
Yeah, well, it is okay. What are you gonna do? You're a ghost. You're not allowed to be here.
No, go away, ghost.
Go away.
Shoot.
Watch. You're gonna bring it home tonight. I bet.
All right. So
you looked in the rear view.
So yeah, I looked in the rear. She wasn't. Whatever. Right. I go make the delivery. When I come back, I look for this person again. Not there. Same thing from the first time, basically.
Right.
So I'm kind of scared and weirded out. And a couple of days later, people are talking about, how sketchy and
just creepy
the routes are at night. Because we have a guy that goes to Columbus, we have a guy that goes to Augusta.
And even then, I bet the same route during the day, it probably wouldn't be as creepy.
No, it's not. I've done it through in the day too, and it's not creepy at all.
It's just nothing to it,
Yeah.
Nothing out of the ordinary.
There's a lot more traffic because at night you don't see any cars.
Right.
There's a lot more traffic, and it's very delightful. There's rivers and lakes that you don't even notice them at night because it's so pitch dark.
Right.
But yeah, it's a very pretty, sightful route. Scenic route, exactly. Yeah. But at night you don't see anything. So they're talking about it, and I tell them exactly this story, right? That I've seen this person twice.
To your coworkers.
To my coworkers, and there's this guy. So that when I can't make it, he drives my route, and I asked him specifically, "Has that happened to you?"
Right.
And he said no. But what has happened to me, this is what he says, right? He was getting his lunchbox out of the passenger side.
In the warehouse?
In the warehouse at Albany.
Right.
And there was this guy that went past them from behind. And the creepy thing about it was that he didn't hear him.
Right.
And he said that, right next to where we park on the passenger side, there's no asphalt. There's no gravel. It's just dirt and leaves.
Right.
Because the house has been abandoned. So there's nobody blowing the leaves out of that.
Right, so you would hear at least the crunching of the leaves,
right,
of anything,
or the twigs or something.
Right. And I mean, at 3:00 in the morning, it's quiet, so
it's absolutely silent.
You could probably hear someone coming up behind you.
Exactly. But the thing is, he didn't hear him at all, and he said this guy was so close to him, he could have stabbed me, and I wouldn't have,
been able to do anything.
Right. And that when he got down and he saw the guy walk behind him, he was just, in disbelief and I guess scared. Right. But he said that even though he walked away, he still couldn't hear him walking away. Like his steps at all.
Wow.
That was the creepiest thing that has happened to him.
And that's one of the things we were discussing yesterday. What if all those people that you are seeing at night aren't actually people anymore? What if all those people that you see walking in the middle? Because honestly speaking, at 3:00 in the morning, who walks in the middle of the road? Seriously, when you start putting puzzle pieces together.
I don't know, but okay. So I play Pokemon Go. You know that.
Oh God, yes.
Right. There's a gym, across, on the other street. Of the warehouse, on the back of the warehouse, there's another street, because it's blocks. It's the city.
Right.
So on the other block, there's a gym, and sometimes I go and I park there to do the gym things.
Oh boy.
There's been a time where you've got to come one night just to see it. Okay, there's this house, those scary movie, the motels. There's one row of houses. Or apartments, per se.
Right.
Yeah, there's this place that looks like that, but there's only one car parked there. Okay? And there's one time this guy came out, and was talking on the phone. Now, it was just talking on the phone.
All right.
And his car pulled up, picked him up. 3 o'clock in the morning. And then drove off. And I was just there. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? It seemed like a drug deal going on.
Well, maybe, hey. Don't just give him out like that now.
But yeah, it was creepy. So there are people walking around.
But I highly doubt that somebody is going to go to a Pokemon gym stop at 3 o'clock in the morning to go do whatever it is that they do there, like battle Pokemon. I don't know what the frick they do, but
yeah,
I highly doubt, because you might be the only almost 30-year-old that.
My brother-in-law does it.
True, and he's a lot older than you, so I'm not going to say anything because there might be a lot of listeners
who play Pokemon Go.
Go get your Pokemons, boo-boo. Go ahead. Better catch them all. But yeah, so I don't know if I ever want to go with you. I don't know if I'm scared. I'm not. See, this is the thing. I'm not scared. But in my case, I'm just cautious because I don't want to bring anything home. We have kids, and our son, we have 2 girls and 1 boy, and our son seems to have wonderfully developed my part of the family's openness, inherited, gene to the spiritual world and all this stuff. And he's very open and very sensitive to everything, and it's very hard. I remember as a child being so scared of everything and not understanding what was going on, and thinking I'm going crazy, and why don't my parents believe me? And how can you even explain, to your parents what you're seeing or feeling when it's clear that they don't see or feel the same thing? And my mom was always very. My mom is a tough love kind of mom. So for her, it's like, well, if I pretend that I don't know what she knows, then it'll go away. And I am a mixture of that with my son, because I don't want to scare him into there are ghosts, but there are nice ghosts too that aren't going to hurt. I don't want to do that. So, but I also don't want to discredit him and make him feel that there isn't something else out there. So I just try to comfort him, like, hey, we're here, it's fine. So I don't really like to go out and look for anything, because...
Well, you wouldn't be looking. You'd be just, shotgun.
Yeah, shotgun. But like I said, and this, it seems like I'm a magnet. Like, as soon as I go into a place or a house or someone, and they'll start saying, we have a friend that her husband has seen a shadow figure since he was a kid, and the last time they were here, they don't live in the state, last time they were here, I was like, you know what, let me go ahead and try to cleanse it for you. And that bitch stayed here, in this house, in my son's room, until not that long ago, where I was like, okay, you know what, bitch, you gotta go. But the point is, I seem to attract these things, and they like to follow me, and unless it's something dark and sinister, which thankfully I've only had minimal encounters with, I try to help as much as I can. But at the same time, there's been, there was a gap in my spirituality where I just blocked everything off, because I was like, you know what, I can't just put myself in this situation and bring these things home where my kids are. So recently I've reopened and tapped back into that, and so now I feel like it's an overflow of energy, and if we go out there, it's like kind of like a lighthouse, it's I don't know what might come out.
But I mean, I get what you're saying, but at the same time it's like, but you're not, like, we are just driving through, so basically you can't take a road trip right now.
What?
You can't take a road trip right now.
Are you asking me or are you telling me?
I'm asking you and telling you, I guess.
Well, I mean, I know how to remove myself from certain situations, but it's like what we were talking about before. Once you acknowledge it, it's like you can't be like, once you open that door, you can't just like, oh well, goodbye, It's like, no, you saw me. I know you saw me. You know, you feel me. You can hear me. I'm going to make my presence known to you until you pay attention, you know? Mm-hmm. So, and it only takes a second. It's not like just because you're driving by. It's like what I was telling you. Like, if you move out the way, you're acknowledging that you see her. So at that point, and this goes back to the story that I was going to tell you about. And I don't remember. I'd have to, you know, I'll speak to my father and I'll go more into detail and everything of that story in our next podcast. But when my father was younger, somewhere in South America, we are from Uruguay, and he's a truck driver as well. And my grandfather was a truck driver. So they would do these routes through Argentina, through Brazil. I'm not exactly sure. I want to say it was in Brazil. And the story of the Macarena, no, not the song. The story of Macarena is actually...
Baila tu cuerpo.
Macarena, que tu cuerpo para darle alegría, tú sabes. No. All right, so the story actually goes... it was this young girl from a native tribe to the country that fell in love with some dude from the city, or I'm not 100% sure. He was a truck driver, right? That's all I know, that the guy was a truck driver. And they fell in love, and her father, which was like the chief of the tribe, didn't allow it. So she was so upset and so distressed that she jumped in front of a truck that was driving by.
Damn.
Yeah. So the thing is that whenever a truck driver passes by through there, she'll get in the passenger seat. And that's just a legend.
I think I did hear that story from your dad.
Yeah, that's just a legend. So my dad was young. I think he said he was about 8 or 9, and he was in the truck with my grandfather. And so they were driving by this one particular route, and I think, I don't remember, this is where I'll get back on this in the next podcast. Something hit the truck. Like, they saw something cross in front of the truck, and this was like also maybe 2-3 o'clock in the morning.